And many of our discussions so far have focused around the content protection and security aspect of this industry. We're here with Verimatrix, a long experience in that field. I'm joined by Tom. Thanks for joining us. Things that have happened recently in this market around IPTV, the protection and content security seems to be critical to the whole range of business models. Is that correct?
Well, it really is for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the people that own content are very anxious that it not be distributed widely on the internet, for example. In the early days, I think a lot of them equated IP with internet, which they've seen primarily as a vector for things like piracy. And the second requirement is really to protect the service. The fellow that's trying to offer operate a service that for subscription or even an ad-based system needs to have the ability to regulate who that goes to and how the content gets used.
And so the presence of IP TV operators has meant what in terms of, I mean, have the broadcasters had to get to grips with new ways of protecting their content? Are we now seeing a convergence towards IP from previous standards?
Well, what we've seen really is that the telephone companies that have been rolling out IPTV commercially as a service, and that's been partially a catalyst for other competitors, cable and satellite, to come back and extend their service offerings to include interactivity, a longer content selection, the ability to do place shifting and time shifting as the IP networks have been able to do. Our particular solution has been driven around software-based security for a number of advantages that we feel that approach has. And we think that new technology broadly that's been developed for IP operators is being now considered and taken advantage of by the folks with other networks.
Sure, because it then offers them a way to keep hold of the customer wherever they may be. So does that mean that you face challenges of getting software onto different ranges of client devices, but still only having one content security platform at the back end?
It's true that our view of the world is that you need to be device independent to be able to support security onto a range of devices: mobile, PC, new portable media players, obviously set-top boxes, TV set integrations, and the like. But we also need to be able to support really almost any path that those bits might take to the consumer. So delivered across cable, satellite, mobile networks, and increasingly from a converged head end. So what we have is operators who own multiple different kinds of networks or have wholesale retail relationships with people that have those kinds of networks, so that a given broadcast or video service operator may have customers that receive their client on a cable system or on an IP system, or maybe it's a cable system at home and an IP when they're traveling, and of course mobility everywhere.
So this is something that then puts what demands of scalability, does it on the provider when you start talking about triple play, 3 screens? It's a bit more of an intensive process, isn't it?
Well, scalability is certainly an issue that everybody has to address. That as we go from hundreds to thousands to hundreds of thousands of subscribers on these networks, and it's not a science project anymore. It needs to be scalable, reliable, high-performance technology. The advantages that we see from software-based solutions particularly is the adaptability, the ability to load our client technology onto many different terminal devices and add new devices regularly, and that's been an impediment to the established security solutions for a long time.
And some people have been saying to us that there's been issues around the standards here, that there's always a reticence to commit too heavily one way and find that you're out on a limb in terms of standards. So where's Verimatrix within that?
Well, we're very much in accord with the idea that there should be open, interoperable components to all of these systems, and it's just going to be important in terms of the overall cost of delivering, getting friction out of the system, if you like. The challenge with standards isn't that there aren't enough, it's that they're not cohered yet. So you're exactly right. I think we belong to 17 different organizations that are involved in setting standards or policy in some way, and hopefully this will all crystallize and make life easier for all of us that need to interoperate.
And have you got any best guess as to how that might happen? What we might see, things consolidate around, or as you say, crystallize?
Well, certainly DVB is a very powerful standard, and I think will be increasingly adopted globally. But we're involved, for example, in the Flow Forum. We're engaged with the ADIS group in the U.S. We're involved in the Open IPTV Forum. Certainly all of them have something to add, but it's not coherent yet, of course.
Okay, if I could just ask you a little bit about the mobile side of this. Where would you place development of mobile digital broadcast TV at the moment? Is it still a sort of a talking game, or are there very real demands that you are being asked to meet by operators at the moment?
So far, I would have to describe it as still early days, and that's to some degree the perspective of the security people. First, there needs to be broadcast and content and devices, and that the content needs to be of such a kind that it's people, the owners don't want it redistributed. So clip casting or news, sports, weather, very perishable content that the owner may be indifferent if it gets distributed or wouldn't expect that it would be distributed in any case, isn't a big driver for our particular product. But we think it will be over time. We think that as valuable content, premium content becomes available on those devices, and I think it's still some time away, we think that opportunity will open up. In the meantime, there are a bunch of interim steps to take. So if you can imagine the use case, for example, where you fell asleep watching your television program last night. You're going to catch the train to go somewhere. You'd love to be able to move that to your portable device or your mobile handset, either wirelessly or across a USB link or otherwise, side-loaded from a memory card perhaps. But you'd like to be able to do that, and the only way to enable that is through the appropriate security-enabled channel.